Hello, hello, hello. If you're here, can you let me know if you hear me? I'm going to let people trickle in for a bit. And I am going to, while that's happening, I'm going to let you guys look at my papers. And we're going to talk about this today, gel prints. And so, oh, hi, Amy. Yeah. All right. So, I forgot to send an email today to everybody that that I'd be doing the live streams. This is a little bit different this week for me, so you know, it's a weird week. Every week is a weird week. So, anyways, which one of these do you like best? Some of these are the same. And these are all gel prints that that I've made in the past week or two. I just learned how to do it, and I'm super having a great time with it. And so while you guys are checking those out, there's actually more up here too. While you guys are checking those out, I am going to let you look at those for a bit, and I'm going to do Patreon shout outs because I don't want to forget to do them, which I often do. So, first of all, let me open it up with welcome to my live stream. I do this every Wednesday. My name's Christy, and I'm from Junk Journal Boss. This is a business that I run with with myself and a couple of my kids, and you know, we love to create art and create folios and that kind of stuff, and that's what we do. We love our jobs. I love doing live streams with you so that I can get to know you. Thanks, Amy. Perfect. Yeah, so what do we do? So yeah, we have an Etsy shop, which is let's see. We have there. It's called Junk Journal Boss. Actually, I'm Junk Journal Boss everywhere. So that's YouTube, Twitch, Etsy, Patreon, all those places. And so what I do is I create digital papers, and then I make folios out of them, and then I sell the papers and the kits inside of my Etsy shop. Let me straighten my camera a little bit. Okay. Why does my camera want to be so stubborn? Okay. So that's what I do. I also have a Patreon community, which I love, love, love. And some of you guys are here. And so what I would like to do, well, let me tell you about this first. So the Patreon community is small, and it's really great. I love doing it because I love to do special things with my patrons, and this is where I'm building my community, and so I would like it to be really nice for the people that are involved, you know, everyone that supports me there. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And so what I do is I create a brand new, never before released project, and this is the July project this time. And I know some of you guys aren't within the United States, but I'm going to tell you guys about this anyway. You could make this without all of the United States stuff, you know, just the basic bare bones. But I'm still noodling on what I want to do for those that are not in the United States. So this is just a little trifold, and it is for 4th of July, obviously. And on the back it says, "We hold these truths to be, excuse me, self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." So this is what it looks like on the outside. This has a little magnet closure here, and it works really well. And inside, I have a whole bunch of ephemera that I have not created, but that I pulled from like archive.org and things like that. The reason why is because I wanted to sort of tell a story of you know, us as a nation, and some marginalized groups and things like that, that mean something to me. So first we've got these, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is really cool. And so this may not be for everybody, but I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you what I've got here. And first, I've got this card, Freedom, and it's got like a background of like a quilt background. And actually all of these cards do. And in here there's just a whole bunch of different ephemera. And you know, there's some that's just the regular stuff that we all know. So we've got women's suffrage, these two right here. This one opens up because it's really long, and it's actually a picture of a march and where everybody was supposed to be during that march. And then we've got, you know, women's suffrage, another one, and this, I can't really read this, but I'm guessing it's probably I don't know, I don't want to say the wrong thing. Then we've also got, just simply because I want to just share with people that, you know, we've had you know, people fighting for gay rights and for transgender rights and things like that, and by rights I mean, like, you know, to be treated equally in this country. And you know, I know that for some of you that's not going to be a special thing, but it is to me, because, you know, I do have children who are in the LGBTQ community, and I support them fully. And so anyway, we've got equality, which has another really cool quilt behind it. And then we've got a picture of Abraham Lincoln, got a picture of King George III with no more kings, because that's why the Englishmen that came over here to create, you know, a new country, that's why they came, because they didn't want to deal with the king anymore. We've got a picture, Triumph of Women's Rights, from 1869. Got a picture of Christine Jorgensen from the 1950s, and she was a trans woman who was born like in 1914 maybe, or something like that. And so and then we've got Stonewall from New York City in 1969, and that was a LGBT march protest thing. Part of the reason why I added those things is because I think that some people may not know that we have that the LGBT community has been fighting for their rights for a really long time, and that this stuff is not new, you know. We've had you know, all people from the LGBTQ community, and I think there's also some other things, IA plus, I don't know. I am not part of that community, so I'm not very well versed in it, but I do support their community because I do believe that all people deserve rights to exist. Okay, so I've got Independence with a really cool quilt there too, and then I've got Independence Hall, where the Declaration of Independence was written, and then I've got Declaration of Independence from 1776, and I have got a couple of emancipated children from 1863. These both were slave children, and so there was an emancipation proclamation back then, and so these kids apparently have been emancipated, and this is a picture of slave sales, and that happened in our country from 1776 to 1865. So, we went a good 90 years having slaves here, and not viewing the slaves as human beings, and that's really sad. So, there is pride in the United States, but there's also some sad things that sometimes people don't want to think about, and so I'm not here to tell you that you should change the way that you believe about anything. If you don't like these things, that's okay. This whole thing comes with different pages of ephemera. You can use it or not use it, and so just a couple quick things is that I have reduced the size of these ones that are sticking out right here because I didn't like the way it looked. And so anyway, yeah, that's this month's project, and that should be coming out sometime within a few days. Okay, I need to shoot the video, so there's that. If you want to do this project, you can join my Patreon, and you can join any tier. There's a $2, $5, and $10 tier. If you join, you get all of the past material and content that has been published. So you're not only getting this month's, but you're getting like all the previous months, and none of those have been released anywhere yet. Some of them are soon going to be released, probably in my Etsy shop, but not until they're a year old. So I have Bella right here. What, Bella? Let me let her out, and I'll be right back. Here, go on out. Did you get trapped? Okay. Okay, so there's that. And just as an aside, guys, you're going to notice that I may venture into places that some of you guys might might feel uncomfortable with. And I just want to let you know that, my channel is all inclusive, and, this is the kind of business that I want to have. So sometimes, most of the time it's just going to be regular projects and stuff. Sometimes the ones that really speak to me, I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on it. And I'm not trying to get anybody to believe anything different or anything like that. I just am doing what is speaking to my heart. So, okay, that's the project. So what I want to do, though, for my patrons is I want to thank all of my, let's see, let me do a thing here. And I want to give a shout out to all of my dragonflies, and that is Darla White, Dawn Graham, Holly Spink, Jane Dunlap, Mary Reynolds, Melissa, Michelle, Sammy D, and Tammy McClintock. Thank you all so very much for all of your support every month. I just really appreciate it, and it's you guys, all of you in my Patreon community, that make this, the stuff I love to do, my job. in other words, you know, you guys make it possible for me to do something that I love here. And so I also want to thank the butterflies and the wildflowers and also my free members. You guys are all amazing, and I really appreciate you. All right, so let's move on and get started with this. All right, so what you're looking at are all my gel prints that I've made in the past few weeks. And I learned about gel prints from, well, I mean, I knew about them, but I really wasn't interested. And then I saw Cassandra Lawrence from Cassie's Parlor. I think she might have a different name for her business now, but you might know her that way. She did a presentation on gel prints for the last art and junk journal retreat that we had in May. And it was funny because what she was doing was so cool that I really wanted to do it. So I bought a gel plate of my own, which is completely and totally obviously used. It's very dirty. And let's see, let me pull it out of here. It's kind of stuck. Well, maybe not yet. Maybe we don't need to do that just yet. So I just wanted to share with you a couple of things that I've done here. You know, this one is done with a gold and no, maybe like a rose gold and white, and with a stencil. That's my phone. And let's see, this one, these were all made just with either by pulling, you know, leftovers off of my gel print or actually doing something intentional. So this was probably a leftover that I went ahead and just drew on. I really like drawing these stripy kind of designs. And so some of these mine only look like this. They have a line down them, not on purpose, but because my printer, I think, has something on it. But if you were to get any of my prints, they wouldn't have that on there. I don't believe so anyway. Okay, so, but these are just a few things that I have done. Some of these I've sewn on, so you can see like, you know, sewing design. Some of them I just really, you know, mostly drew on, but here's a little bit of white thread up here. It's not, doesn't look like it's very clear to see, but there's a little bit of thread on there. This one has a few lines on here. Zigzag stitches and stuff. And then a lot of these were just made with actual stencils that I made. Okay, so I made this stencil on my silhouette, you know, with a, I believe it was probably an SVG file. And I made this one too. This one I actually duplicated the design on one of Sherry Spears on one of her videos. I saw it and I just loved it. And so anyway, here are some more. I made this one as well. They're not really unique. A lot of them are just really plain designs. Oh, this paper's so thick I keep thinking I'm picking up two. All right, so there's that. And so a lot of these are just pulls from whatever's left on the gel plate. So it might be like really light like this. This one actually was made, and because I was just testing my designs, and I was making the stencils on cardstock, and so the cardstock actually stuck to this one. I thought that looks pretty cool. So there's that. And some of these are pretty bright colors. And so you might be looking at these going, those don't quite look like 8.5 by 11. And you would be absolutely correct. These are actually somewhere around, I don't know. Let me see, what's my ruler say? I mean, they're different sizes, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So this one's 6.5 by 9. So they're all going to be something like that, you know, 6.5 by 8.5, something like that. Okay, and the reason why they're like that is because I tear the sides off, right, with a ruler. I just use a ruler and just, you know, and I set those aside because I don't want any of the white edges to show. And hi Doris, I don't want any of the white edges to show, so I pull those off. But I do another thing that I learned from Sherry Spear. Can you tell I've been binging her stuff? But she's the one that taught me, you know, to just by her video. I don't really know her, but how to just tear the sides off there. This is the paper I'll use for my crafting and stuff. And what I am doing with the edges there, you know, I mean, I probably would have just cut real close to the design and everything, but I'm not doing that this time because there is a craft that I've started to really love doing. And if you're in my Patreon, you will have already received one of these as a goodie alert. And that's just a thing that I give out monthly, you know, something free for you know, those that support me each month in my community and in my Patreon. So these are a couple things that I've made lately, and I think that this one is the one that I gave you guys, but I don't really remember. Okay, but this is what I used all the scraps for. So when I pull them off of the pages, they look like this. They're not very pretty. They look like trash. But I usually will rip a little bit more than just the white off so that I can make these really cool pages. So I end up with stuff like this. A lot of these I've used already, so the really good ones are taken up. But, you know, there's all kinds of colors. They're pretty vibrant still. And I make things like these pages. And so what I do is I glue each strip, and I'm going to show you guys how I do that today. And so yeah, this is a super fun craft. You could do it with any strips of paper that you have left over. I like doing it with gel prints because, for one thing, I've got that trash, right? Or I've got those pieces. But for another thing, you know, it fulfills that whole, you know, trash to treasure love that I have. And oh, this is the original. These are all the original, I guess. Okay. So anyway, so yeah, that's what I do with those. This is my new thing right now. I'm probably going to create a folio for the shop, and maybe even maybe use these for next month's next month's project in Patreon. So which means that you guys will get a few of these, a few more. So sorry about that. Really quick, I'll show you what I'm working on right now. And so this is how I'm making one of those, and I'm making it landscape this time. And I've got all these pieces. Some of them are shorter, some of them are longer, so you could see where I've attached, you know, them together, tried to kind of match up a little bit here and here, and all that's fine. You know, it's not a big deal if it doesn't look great. So when I want to add something, let's see if I've got another piece that looks like this. I would love to if I did. And I could actually make them different, but yeah, maybe I will. So most of these are about the same, but because of the paint and everything, they look a little, you know, like different kind of designs and everything. So when I use these, I think I'll just use these two. When I use two different ones, what I do is I leave the white on, you know, because I want to glue that down, right? And I don't really want to, well, I don't want to do the work of taking all the white off, and it's fine. I just want to kind of match stuff up and see how I like it. And I'm probably going to do it just like this. And you're probably wondering, Christy, what are you going to do with that space? I'll show you. So we'll work on this for a little bit, and then I'll pull a gel print or two if I have time. I want to have time. So, but I've been working on this one this morning, and I'm really enjoying this whole, I'm really enjoying this whole thing. And so you might also be thinking, if I do that, I'm doing all that work for, you know, just to have one piece of paper to use. And so what I'm going to say to you is that, I guess I went a little low on that. That's okay. What I'm going to say to you is that whenever you make anything like a masterboard or one of these, you know, strip pages, or, you know, even just your gel prints and everything, get into the habit of scanning those, because then you will have them forever. And I have a whole drawer full of masterboards and you know, the originals of these and stuff like that, because I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose them. I want to be able to use them as much as I want to. And the only way I can do that is if I save them. So I'm going to put this one here. And then I'm going to see if I can match this up some. Maybe I want to use this instead. It's a little different, but it's okay, you know. Looks good. So that's really kind of what I do, is I just try to match it up. Oh, my glue stick is getting really dry here. All right, so there's that. And I really do wish I had a little bit more of this green, but I may just kind of toss it in right here. Or maybe that might be my last one. I don't know. I'm not sure. But this is really just all you do, you know. You're just putting down what you like, you know, seeing what that is. And let's go ahead and put that down. And then I'm going to put part of this one down, I think. And it's not going to measure up really, but that's okay. Like I told you, I have plans. So this isn't going to be the end product. The end product is going to have a lot more work done to it. And if you are not a person that enjoys tedious work like me, hi Ezzy, then you may not like this project. Okay, but all right, so I'm pretty much done there. Next thing to do is just to turn this over and cut all these off. cut it flush. And I really don't do anything with the rest of these scraps. I mean, they're small, and while, you know, I kind of look at these and go, oh man, look at, you know, or whatever, I usually will just throw them out, because it probably will take more energy for me to figure out what to do with those than if I, you know, more energy than I want to spend anyway. Let me just say that. So let me just glue down some of the edges that are not down, just for good measure. Okay. And then here's one over here too. All right. So the next thing I want to do is to actually start drawing on this. And I love doing this part because it is really so relaxing. But don't worry, I won't fall asleep or something, but it's very relaxing. So what I'm using right now is it's a bronze gold specular highlight high gloss liquid mirror pen marker. So the color's bronze gold again. And so what I like to do is just find a spot to start, maybe here, and just start drawing circles. And so mostly when I'm doodling, I'm drawing circles, maybe squares, maybe triangles, squiggles, polka dots. I guess you can't really say polka dots, but just I'm dotting things, you know, covering with some dots, and just stuff like this. And so you're going to be looking at your page, right? And you're going to be like, oh, this doesn't look very good. So what you do if you're not loving what you have here is to just stick with it, you know, stick with it. So I love using metallic pens right now, like gold and rose gold and silver and stuff like that, because I think they're really cool, although it doesn't really come through on the prints. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. Okay, so you can do lots of different things here. This is usually where I start with some gold dots. You can see those, and you could see that I don't really, you know, make them perfect or anything like that. They're not really straight as far as, you know, they don't, anyway, they're not straight. But, so let's see, what do I got here? So this is a pink metallic pen. Just got these off of Amazon, all of these pens, and they're much darker than they look right here. But what I wanted to show you is that, remember I didn't match these top ones up right there. So what I'm going to do is, and I can even do it in this if I want to, but I'm going to focus on this one here. Why does this look purple? And then I'm just going to draw smaller and smaller circles, just to kind of give or use up the white space, because the white space is actually, unless you're doing like a really light colored one, and this one's relatively light colored, but unless you're doing a really light colored one, I'm so confused by these colors. You know, you'll want to cover the white. So how's that for me saying two sentences at the very same time. Anyway, but you know, like I said, it's really, really relaxing, and it looks cool, you know. Just add these little things in, and the more you add in different places, the less noticeable it is that you've got one over here. If you just left it alone, it would be weird. It would look weird. So I just like to go through, and this is another pen that I'm using, another brand. It's pretty much basically the same thing as as the pen I used here. And so I'm just experimenting with a bunch of different pens. That way, if you guys are interested, then I can actually tell you what I'm using, and you can get that if you want to. All right. So I'm going to do some squares on this part here. I think I'll just leave it like that. And let's see, maybe I'll color them in. And these are actually all metallic markers that I'm using. Some of them are harder to see than others, and actually on camera, I feel like they're all kind of hard to see. But at any rate, let's see. All right, so there's that. And the next thing I want to do is actually, I want to use a light color next. So I guess I'll just use gold. I don't know how light this is going to be, so let me test it. That's kind of light. I kind of think this is going to be. All right. I think I'll go ahead and use this one, though I like that one better. I'm going to use this one. Just going to make circles. And they're not going to be, they're pretty subtle, you know, they're not going to be, you know, like crazy or anything like that. It just adds a little subtlety. So next I want to do one other thing and show you what a difference, you know, things can make just by doing something really simple. So let me go over here. Let's see. And go up here. And so I'm just going to start making like a squiggle line. And the reason I'm not doing, you know, like that is because I tend to make them all different sizes if I do that. And I probably still will, but it just won't be as bad. Okay. All right. So there, we've got a little squiggle. There's a few rough edges there, but we'll see if we need to do anything to fix that. But what I like to do now is just go along that line and just make little bitty circles or dots. All right. So I would go on the other side as well, but I'm not going to make you guys sit and watch me do that. I'll just show you what it ends up looking like. Okay. But it gives it a, you know, like a different kind of look. And I just do stuff like that all over the page if I think it needs it. Let's see. So this is a good example. I think this one might be the one that you guys got free in Patreon. I don't remember. But at any rate. So this is what I did with this one. You know, there was a lot of white space, so I just added some different size dots here and here. There was white space here, so I just did some stripes and just sort of filled in, you know. This was a page like this, but this was the side cut off. And so I used that there and here too. And, you know, these are some of my stenciled ones. Of course, these I drew across here, and, you know, all these little lines here, and you can maybe see that there's tiny little dots inside. It could use more, you know. This wasn't quite tall enough, so I filled it in with some turquoise and added some like little gold pieces on the white part, and then put some little black polka dots. Hang on, let me grab one of the first ones. Oh, I see. Here they are. Okay, so let me set this aside. And these are a few that I've done recently. This one I sewed on a lot. You know, I did some zigzag stitches. I did a couple different colors, you know, just, you know, to bring interest. And I haven't trimmed everything off, but you can see how doing different stitches on here changes what it looks like. And this is actually what I did when I matched two that weren't exactly. I just went ahead and just stitched a divider there on some of these, not on all of them. This is another one I did, kind of an experiment. And you know, again, I just took some black Sharpie and just drew down here and up here these little swirls. So this was before I had all the metallic pens and everything, but I just drew mostly in black, a little bit in white, and this was already there, these squares, because that's how I made the paper, and I did a little bit here too. So a whole bunch of different stitches and everything. It's really just 3 stitches. And so here's another one. I didn't do a whole lot of stitching on it, but what I did do is I did do some drawing on some of it, you know, adding in some little things that I thought might be interesting. This one was actually made this way, so I didn't have to do anything there. More dots, more dots, more dots. This one was made with that there, so I didn't have to do anything. This one was plain, so I did those dots. This one was a Zentangle that I did, that I pulled some of the scrap paint off with, so I figured I would use it. And on these sides were white actually, so I just went in there with my Sharpie and just kind of, you know, filled it in. These lines I made, this was like this, and down here I went ahead and just did, you know, like half circles. They're not very good half circles, but they are half circles nonetheless. And this one here was one that I made. I pulled just scrap paint off onto the paper, and after it was dry I went ahead and wrote like a whole bunch of affirmations. And so on some of the prints you're going to see things like this where it says, I'm worthy of being loved, you know. And so this one I did a lot on. So a lot of it I did and I didn't like. Like this was totally different. It had the cheetah print, but it didn't have the purple background and stuff like that. So, you know, I changed it. I did my dots and then I put my little polka dots around each one. And here's that line that I showed you earlier that I was doing. This one's a little thicker than that one, but you can see where I have the lines. It's almost kind of like a millipede or something, but not. I started doing things here, just teeny little dots. I guess I just didn't finish that. And then, you know, I just doodled and I did some sewing and it looks so cool. You know, this is probably my favorite one, but I'm going to keep doing them. So this is one that I did out of the smaller pieces, and here's some more of that. You know, those affirmations. This one is supposed to say, I'm worthy of investing in myself. I can't remember what this one is going to be, but this one is something like, I'm strong in my boundaries. And so I really like those hidden messages. I kind of know what they are, so, you know, they speak to me. And so, yeah, I did a lot of drawing on this one as well. And so here's some that I didn't do any drawing on, and I think it's really pretty just like this. But if you have any suggestions, let me know. And so there's all of those. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and pull a print for you guys. So I usually take this thing out, and I think I'm probably going to fight with this a little bit. I don't think it's recommended to store these in here like this, but I don't really remember what was said, you know, what a good way to store them is. So if any of you guys knows, I'd be really happy to know that. Okay, so I just got that there. Oh, I forgot my brayer. So I've got two brayers that I use for the most part, and they are, this one goes all the way across, which is nice. I don't like to have the seams, and I always get them, you know, from using a small brayer like that. But anyway, let me set some of this stuff aside, and we'll go ahead and just start. Let me scoot this a little bit over so I can put a piece of paper on this side. And I'm going to use gold and turquoise today. And this is a page that I did that's just kind of, you know, it's not very attractive yet, but it will be. All right. So I'm just going to use this to put my excess paint on. And so the first thing I want to do here is to put my stencil on, and inevitably I put them weird, but I think I might be okay this time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some little bit of gold. Sometimes I do it in a big line, but I've noticed that I'm ending up getting too much paint on everything, and I'm wasting it. So all right, so what I want is I want all the center parts to have a thin coat of gold. So now I'm going to pull this off of here, And you can see the design, right? And I'm gonna roll off the rest of my gold. I didn't have very much. And now this one, I'm gonna let this dry for a few seconds. I think it'll be okay. And then I want to add, yeah, this is pretty much dry. All this dries really quickly because you're using only like thin layers. So now I'm going to go ahead and just create a thin layer on here. You don't need a lot of paint. I started out using a lot of paint and it ended up being really weird. So this is really very fun. Ooh, it doesn't have enough paint. I think I'm pulling some of it off. Maybe I'm going to add a little bit more, because I actually do want a background. So trying to just spread it around without taking much of it up. Okay. I keep doing that. So I guess it's probably hot in here right now because it's drying very quickly. So let me just see if I can do this really fast before everything dries. And let's just hope it comes out. It looks like it already started drying. So let's just go ahead and just pull this. All right, so I've got some just regular cardstock here. And I want to put it on as straight as I can. And then I'm just going to just rub this for a bit. I want to try to get everything off of this. I mean, everything isn't going to come off, but at least the paint that I'm using today, I would like for this to come off. Gosh, it looks like it's already, oh boy, look, it's already been dry. That's so wild. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just pull this one, and then I'm going to try it again. So this is actually kind of cool, you know, but it's so small. So let's put more paint. And I don't know, I'm new at this, guys, so I could be doing the absolutely wrong thing right here. So if I am, tell me. So I don't want this layer to dry. So now let's put another piece. And just start pressing all the way across. Yeah, it's having a hard time picking up some of that dry paint. So I'm hoping that we're going to get a little bit of the gold on here, but I don't know. It's kind of trial and error, guys. And I'm willing to bet that it's probably like 90 degrees in this room right now. So there is that. Okay, I think we're gonna have something different, but maybe not exactly what I was looking for. Even still, it looks pretty cool, right? I mean, I love that it's not necessarily uniform, you know, and that there's some of the gold here. It looks like it pulled some of the black off of there, and I'm not even going to clean this. I'm not even going to clean this. I'm going to just maybe add some more paint and just see. Obviously, I've been using this all weekend. This is probably way too much paint, but still. Okay. Maybe a little extra paint on a day like today's not a terrible idea. I think I'm just going to leave that. It isn't as thin as I would like it, but that's already proven to be not the best idea today. So I'm going to just go ahead and do this. And what I'm hoping is that it's going to be a gold page, but with a bunch of the blue on it. I think some of my paper moved a little bit, so you want to be careful of that. I think they have like guides and stuff. I think I'm going to 3D print one for myself. Some kind of guide where I can put the paper on and not have it stick so much. All right, so there's a little bit of that, and these are all gonna dry really quickly. And so let's see if we can get any of this off of here. No, I don't think so. Ezra says, is it possible that the stock is too glossy? It's actually not. It's pretty matte. So, you know, it's just a weird temperature in here. Usually I have the air on, but for some reason our circuit breakers are being tripped, you know. I guess our box isn't really, well, what it is that half of our electricity goes out to the garage because we have a breaker in there, and half of it goes here, and that actually solves the mystery of why we always trip breakers. All right. Okay, so here's this. I can let this dry and I could do something else on it if I want. I really kind of like it like this as a background. I think it has a lot of character, you know. It has, you know, the old, look at, remember when I took this out, it was all black. It has the black splotches, it's got the leftover gold, and it's got, you know, the splotches from the leftover blue. So these are so fun. I just love these. So these are all pretty dry now, and these are what I made. And once these are all dry, I'll show you how I just how I pull the edges off of here. This one's pretty dry. I'll wait for the rest of these to fully dry, and then I'll show you how I do this. It's super easy. So all I'm going to do is just, it depends on how close the paint is to the edge. So I think I'll just probably do like an inch over here and maybe an inch and a half right here, or maybe an inch would do. I don't know. But anyway, I do about the same on both sides. Wait, am I off a little bit? That's okay. And I just tear it. I don't even bother with the scissors or anything. So I think I'm gonna, yeah, go ahead and go to maybe about here. And just use my ruler as a tear thing. And I just do it on all the sides, usually about an inch. Inch and a half on the sides with more white. And there's no real science to this, and that's what I love about junk journaling and or junk journal making and jelly prints and stuff like that, is that there just isn't, it's all of it's forgiving, you know what I mean? The perfectionist in me from years ago might have looked at this and said, oh my gosh, that's so ugly, you know, I need to do something so much better. I believe, yes, that you can. So Ezra's asking, I'm curious, could you use paint markers on a gel plate directly? And I believe that is done. I haven't seen it actually done. Like, I haven't watched any of the videos, but there's lots of them on YouTube about even using Sharpie markers. I'm not sure if it means the Sharpie acrylic type that I have or what. But yeah. So, these are, doing this to the sides actually straightens out the ones that I have that are crooked, which is kind of nice. So now I just get these, and every single one of these I rip off, I'm like, that's going to be a really cool piece. All right, and it's 3:01. So I am going to hop off, but if you want to continue with me, I'll probably pull some more gel prints maybe, and just do stuff with these, and over on Twitch. So it's twitch.tv/Junk Journal Boss. So if you don't have an account over there, that's okay. You can still watch, but you won't be able to join the conversation in the chat. But you can simply just make an account and do nothing on there, but just come watch me and chat with us. So anyways, I'm gonna hop off because I'm late, and I will see you guys in just a few minutes over on Twitch.